Hello, hello, we're live. We're gonna paint, we're gonna paint, we're gonna paint, we're gonna paint. You're gonna paint, I'm gonna paint. So you just have to wait till they come on. We're gonna dance. Hi. Hi. I don't know who's there. Say you're here. Hi, Cynthia. You ready to paint? You ready to paint? This is my workout clothes. So, you guys, stand up. We're gonna jump for a little bit. Because we're not gonna start for a few minutes to let people come, since I've been asked that. Let's do a pony. Pony, pony. I get a paint, you get a paint, let's paint together. Paint together. You guys up? Getting warmed up? I was cold, so I'm just gonna stand here and jump in jacks. Run in place, you guys. Do you like my shirt? This is a shirt that I got on a run, the Atlanta run. It's for a women's run. Hello. Tell me who's saying hi. I can't read it.
Terry Wagner, Lisa Harris.
Terry Wagner. Hi, Lisa. Does this look familiar?
Susan Picknell.
Okay.
Jenny Lorich, Elaine Coles.
I was up late last night, you guys. We have a dog who's aging. He's 15, and he was barking. So I was up with him. I got up with him at midnight and stayed with him. So I haven't showered yet. This is me waking up, looking like I didn't sleep. But I'm energetic and excited and ready to go. You guys got all your stuff together? We do a kick? I'm gonna say hi to Dwayne, who's 5 years old. He's in Dubai. I'm not sure how to say that. Is that how you say that, Tom?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Are we ready to start? Jumping jacks with me. Knee lift. I can teach exercise classes too, you guys. I used to do that. It doesn't look like it though. All right, what time is it? 11:02. Okay, let's get started, you guys. We're gonna take this over here and set it up.
Aren't you going to sing?
Not till later. I am gonna sing, but not till later. Okay, you guys, give me a second to get you guys set up over the painting. Ready for the part 2 of the beautiful hummingbird. How are we looking? I have a couple things I'm gonna do before we do the hummingbird though. High energy. I do have lots of energy. This is true. Can you see it on there? Okay. First of all, you guys, did you say I love you to yourself 3 times? Okay. Say it now. I love you. I love you. I love you. And you're saying that to yourself. I love me. I love me. I love me. And I really want you to. You got bounced out and over to session. Uh-oh. Good morning, Denise. You can tell me when people are saying things too, because I can't look at that the whole time. All right, first of all, I'm gonna show you this in a second. We talked about doing eyes. I was thinking we should do either this one or that one for the next project. This is a gorilla, and this is a frog. Yes, they're porcelain dishes. You're not helping. You need to tell me the questions. Oh, you can't see them? Okay. So this is a frog, this is a gorilla, and I like those. I was thinking we should do those. I will let you know about that. Okay, that's one thing I wanted to announce to you guys. I want to thank Lisa Harris and Rick Harris for this board they gave me. It's a great board for watercolor and taping it on there.
How about both?
How about both? Yeah, Lisa. This, what I want to show you here. Can you see this? This is a little book. You know how whenever I said you guys should paint, put miles on the brush and paint whenever you can? So this is a book that I call my car art book. So when I'm a passenger in the car, I bring watercolors when it's for a long trip. And here's a dog I did in the car while driving. Here's another dog. These are all dogs. This is Luna. This is Camo, my poodle. This is a dog I met on the road, Bugsy. Oops, sorry, let's go over this way. Whoops, wrong way. Bugsy. So you guys just get creative and paint wherever you can. This is Ramona, my daughter's dog. This is a fun little colorful dog. This is Bentley, one of our family's dogs. This I'm in the middle of doing. I was in the car and the trip ended, so that's Cooper. And the rest are just drawings of dogs so that I have them ready. And I just grab my paints, my travel paints, and I am ready to paint in the car. So I want to tell you guys that is a good, fun project to do. Think about doing that for yourself so that you keep miles on your brush whenever you can. All right, there's the start of the hummingbird. Before we get started.
How do you manage the water when traveling?
It spills sometimes. I put it in a little cup, and then when my husband goes a little too fast, it will spill. But that's okay. It's fun. I don't mind. It's just water.
Where'd you buy the book?
The book is online. Oh, wait, here. Let me tell you the back of the book. It's called Stillman and Burn. Stillman and Burn. This is reversed image. It's backwards, right, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. I was told that it was a little bit confusing to have my hummingbird facing the opposite way, so I apologize for that. So I reversed it today. So this way, today it should be facing the way that you guys are, okay?
Watercolor paper in that book?
It's not really watercolor paper, I don't think. It's pretty light. Here, let me get it back out for you. It's more like hot press paper. If you look close at it, it doesn't absorb the same. Can you guys tell? It doesn't absorb the same. And this is just like what I was telling you about making black. That's just basically blue and red and probably the burnt sienna that we mixed together. So blacks are really important. It'll make it look like a black dog. This one I didn't do so much except for in the eye. That would be the blacks in the eye. And the same here. But it's really important to know how to do the black and make it a beautiful black, not just a flat black that comes in your watercolors. Some of them have that. Okay, I'm ready to move on. We're going to go to the, excuse me, the singing. This is for you, Dwayne. Twinkle, twinkle, you're a star. Keep your brush near, not far. Splash some paint, you're doing great. Enjoy your project, do not wait. Twinkle, twinkle, you're a star. Keep your brush near, not far. All right, you guys ready for this? I am. Oh, yay. All right, one more thing before we go on. We talked about lifting paint. I'm going to show you something that you can do. This is a piece of, make sure we're in, there we go. A piece of masking tape. I'm not telling you guys to do this, I'm just going to show you how. Let's say that I wanted a little bit of white lifted here. Instead of just taking a little scrubby brush, and this is called a Da Vinci #1 Nova Synthetic. Instead of just taking this and trying to scrub out of place, I can get a piece of masking tape and cut out just a section. I don't mind doing this, so, it doesn't matter to me if this isn't what I want on here. So now I'm gonna scrub with this stiff brush, right? Just that area. And the masking tape protects the surrounding. It's out of focus? Is the bird out of focus?
I'm looking. Well, it could be a little, that's not bad. So.
Okay. So you can see it didn't lift as well as we want. This is a pretty light yellow anyway, but if I want to lift it more, let's just say I'm determined. I want that to be lifted. I told you guys about the magic eraser, Mr. Clean. You dip it in water, and wring out the water. Get it pretty damp. Every time I move things into the picture, it'll try to refocus, you guys. So give it a second. So again, I've got a hole cut out in this masking tape. And watch what happens. I'll scrub. It'll get pretty close to the white of the paper, but it does damage the surface a little bit, so be a little bit careful. I'll lift that up so you can see a little closer. See where I lifted out some white? And that's for mistakes you might make, or you just want to increase your white for some reason. It doesn't always work perfectly. So really try to preserve your whites whenever possible, okay? Another thing you can do with masking tape is take a piece and say I want to soften the edge here. So, but I don't want to get into the feather very much. Let's just say I want to do that. So I'll put the masking tape right near the edge.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser does it too.
Yeah, Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. That's another one. That's what I showed the second time. Was someone saying that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got my scrubby brush, and I'm just going to soften this edge. Is my hand in the way? I'll go this way. But I don't want to disturb the inside of the paint that I already have, for example. Let's just see what happens. So my edge is getting blurry, and we'll compare the top to the bottom. We'll peel this off. Can you see what that did? But if I just did it without the masking tape, I'll show you at the top what it'll do. It'll creep into the feather a little more. I can't really control the amount that I want it to go. I don't know if you can see the difference much there. But anyway, there's two ways for you to correct something and also just to increase your lifting capability. And then you just tap. If you want to keep lifting paint, you can go like this. Watch. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Blot it. And I'll do that again. Get your brush clean again. Dry it again. I really didn't want to do this, but I just wanted to share it with you guys. Okay, so you guys are just actually kind of watching right now. So let's say I do that and I'm like, oh wait, I really don't want that to be lighter. I'm going to put my color back into it, which yesterday we used phthalo blue, right? So now it's already wet. I'm going to go ahead and tap it back in and say, I've changed my mind. I liked it dark. And we brought it back. Make sure there's more paint on your brush than the water that's on the paper to make it darker. Okay, so we're heading on down the road to continue the painting. All right. I have 2 containers of water. I showed you my other container of water. This one is for my clear rinse, and this one's for my dirty, okay? So I rinse in the blue one first, just to remind me, okay? All righty, I think that's it. I'm going to send a video out to those of you who have expressed interest in the more in-depth class, just to let you know. It'll be sent out in Messenger privately, not on the main group. Here is our reference. Here's the one I finished that we're going to try to copy and I'll bring in once in a while. I'm reversing this. It's hard to go. I'm supposed to go this way because the image is reversed. We're going to go into, where should we go? A wing? Let's go to this wing. Okay? So get your medium-sized brush. The size isn't really important. Just get a medium-sized brush. Get it wet. Let's paint with some water. If you notice on the wing, it's lighter here. You can see that clearly, and it's darker here. We're going to match that. That's all you're doing is observing. So let's match that. All right? Water on the brush. Oh, sorry, I moved the camera. Go down into the wings. Try to keep a little bit of a separation where there's a separation. So paint, this is a section, and this is a section, and this is a section with water. Can you guys see okay? Just tell me anytime there's a problem. I have a person to read the messages to me. That would be Mr. Tom, who's an exceptional singer. Didn't you guys love him singing yesterday? So I'm using the flat of my brush. I'm not just using the tip. Can you see the difference? Because I don't need the tip here. I'm just applying water. If you guys have a larger reference photo, I would recommend you use it. Because I want you to start learning to observe. I'm observing what my eyes see, but you might see something different. You may want to do that. Don't go up into this area if you haven't already. If you have, it's no big deal. If you can, avoid it. Because we'll do that next. I just have to say you guys did a fabulous job on all of your hummingbirds. They were amazing. So in the one that we're copying, I did blue here, as you can see. I had a little bit of green. This is all splashed on a little bit more afterwards. I added more in my background than what we started with. You guys could probably compare if you wanted to. Any questions? Private message me the advanced video too. Okay.
I'm writing those down.
Okay, thanks, hon. So I'm looking at this and I added more water and I'm like, oh, that's too much water. So I'll take one of these precious Kleenexes and sop it up a little bit. And I'm talking so that the water absorbs somewhat into the paper. Give it some time, you guys. Don't rush it. Enjoy. Have some patience. Are you learning patience? Go right up to the edge. I love watching people paint. Even though I paint, I watch. There's one of my favorite programs. You guys might want to write this down. If you can get it, it's Portrait Artist of the Year. And it's a BBC program. I see it on YouTube. They don't stay on very long, though. Somehow they start and then they take them away, and it's so disappointing. Okay, we're going to move in with, let's get some dirty paint and some blue paint. You can see part of that palette. Someone else likes that. So I'm going in with my blue. Because if you observe, you can see a blue tint here, can't you? It's a bluish tint. And the rest looks sort of purpley to me. We're going to try to match the beak.
Someone said it's blurred, it needs to be focused.
Okay. It's probably because I'm moving stuff around too much. It should refocus on its own. Is it focused now? Tap the water, tap the paint in. I'll try to quit moving stuff around, and that'll help. We're doing light paint here, you guys. We want the wings to look blurry, like they're translucent almost, because the hummingbird wing flutters so fast that you can almost see through it, right? In fact, I'm going to pick up some of my paint. Now I want you to get into the dirty paint over here. This sort of matches the beak. Try to get to that warm purpley color. Take out some excess water on your brush. And we're going to tap at the base of the wing and just to get the outline. And I want that to creep up in there. You'll see it moving. See how it's going up into where the water is? Same thing here. Just find some of these little edges right in here, the ones that look like triangles. Remember, we're looking at shapes. And because we left them kind of in segments, we can go to the edge and it'll go into the wing. If it's going too far, get the water, dip your brush in the water and take out the excess water and let the brush pick up some of that pigment. Same thing here. Same thing here. So far, this painting has not become an awkward-looking adolescent, so that's really good. But usually it does, because that wing's looking really pretty to me. We still have water up in this area, so let's get into some of this darker purpley color that I was telling you, the dirty paint. Dirty paint. I even have some hairs floating in mine. That's how dirty it is. Starting with the very top, if you like. Sorry, I keep bumping that. I have my hat on, you guys saw, so I keep bumping it with my hat. It's probably a little too wet. So I'm gonna go down into the lower part because this has less water. I'm gonna bring it down here. Still a little too wet. Let's let that sit. Go to a smaller, well, you know what, yours might not be too wet, so I'll just keep working there. Pick up some of the pigment. You don't want to put too much on because you want the you can add layers later.
What do you mean by dirty paint?
Muddy paint that's just like kind of a nondescript color, like see how, let's see how this is pure paint? Can you see that? If I move it in, it's gonna blur. See, that's pure pigment. There's no dirtiness added to it. These have all become dirty because other ones have mixed in with it. And this one is the one I just call like super dirty. I've got purples and browns, sort of like dirt. A lot of people don't let their paints get very dirty at all. And I try to keep the pigments that I want to keep here because you can see that a lot of my paintings are real bright and vivid. But I also really like to have that. I don't like to waste paint. I went to one class and they said, you know, if you want to paint, get a lot of paint out there. But I just have this hard time wasting paint once it's on there. If I can use it, if I can use that dirty paint, I want to use it because there's a lot of times we need it. Try to leave a white area above that wing. Can you see that little white stripe right there? You know what? I'm going to have to turn this hat around backwards. That'll be better. So just copy along. You can see what you're doing, you guys. I'm just copying the shapes, trying to keep a little bit of white in between. My dog's snoring again. Nice gentle brush stroke here. And remember your first wash, like this looks kind of messy. Your first wash is not your last. You're gonna come back in. I would like to add a smidgen of phthalo blue into this wing, just a smidgen, because I want it to look like it's apart, they're together. Okay, so just a little tap right in there, somewhere in there. It doesn't matter where, you guys, just somewhere. Somewhere that makes like it could be sense for you, okay? Let's go to the other wing and do the same thing with the water. Put some water down. Is anybody saying something, Tom? Or are they just busy painting?
They're busy painting.
Perfect. Perfect.
Rhonda's watching.
What's that?
Rhonda's watching.
Hi, Rhonda. If you guys tell me the names of any kids who are watching, I will do my best to say hi to the kids. Now, even though this looks like I've drawn a space in between, I don't want that space. I want it to be wet. That's just a space for me to know where to put a lighter color. It's not, I don't want that to be a separated wing. Okay, we're gonna let that sit, soak. When you're done with that, go to a smaller brush. We're going to the feet. And you can see on the photo, I don't have feet. The feet are tucked in, but I wanted to have feet, so I just drew them. So obviously you can do whatever you want to your drawing, whatever you think will make it look good.
Earlier, Jenny said you had a great view.
Oh, thank you.
Joy said, I'm a 77-year-old kid.
Yay. Well, I'm a 58-year-old kid, right? We're going to go back to that same color that we did for the wing, the beak. Now we're going to do the feet. Get more.
Anderson said you're a rock star teacher.
Yay. Thanks, you guys, for those nice comments. I'm really having fun with y'all.
Brayden says my granddaughter, Selena, says hi.
Selena, hello. How old is Selena?
Didn't say.
You guys know what we're doing here on the feet, right? We're tapping it in. You've done this before. You've got water down already, and now we're tapping in the paint. Try not to make it completely black. Leave some white. I'm just going near the edges. Is that too far away for you guys to see? I'm only going near the edges of the drawing right here. I want to have a little white highlight. What happened?
Get a dog orchestrator.
Oh. You guys, my dogs may start barking. Please forgive me. We have 6 dogs, but this is a home-based business. Okay, so if you're looking at the feet, they look pretty cool. Let's get some blue, some phthalo blue, because we're tying all the colors together. I'm gonna tap it in at the top near to the belly because that's the darkest point. That's where the shadow will be. And then what's gonna happen is this is gonna drift on down. This is gonna paint itself and become really pretty. Also, there's that part, like I guess you could call that on the bird. You've got the front feet and you've got the thumb in the back. This is the thumb. So paint the thumb blue too. I don't know what that's called. You know when they grip on the thing, they're, you know. Anybody know what that's called? Feel free to Google it for me. Try to pull a little bit of the blue down along the edge. And then leave it alone. Don't mess with it. Let it mix itself. This is still pretty wet. I can see a shine to it. This is just damp, which is great. Let's go back to this. We're gonna go back into our dirty paint, the bluish purple paint, and find those triangular shapes that show the definition of the wings, okay? We're just gonna lightly tap in there. And the paint, see it spreads out. Excuse me.
Selena's 11 years old.
Hi, Selena, who's 11 years old.
Karachi. She has 2 dogs, a lab and a husky.
Oh, what are their names?
Someone said that's impossible. You're 58. You look about 35.
No, I'm 58. Okay, look, right here, you guys. This had more water, this had less water. This is the difference between painting with a wet look and a dry look. I prefer this, it feels more organic. So what I'm gonna do, wet my brush, dry it off a little bit. I'm gonna get next to the paint that I just put on there and I'm gonna pull it around. Just with the water and the flat part of my brush. Can you see how cool that looks? And that's giving us a shape. When you paint, you have to look at value. Value just means the lights and the dark, and that's what makes a shape become a form. Shape and form are 2 elements of art. So you've just been taught again. You're not just following along, you're actually being taught something. So that when you go away and paint your own painting, you will think about that. In order to make a form, I have to have lights and darks. And it sounds super simple, but people forget that. They don't look for the light source. I feel like that's maybe a little too much, so I'm gonna use my brush and lift up some of the paint, pull it out. Another way, I have a tissue. Okay. And if I feel like I'm getting a little bit too fussy, here's what I'll do. I'm gonna get my paintbrush with water. You know what I'm gonna do, right? A little splash. Dip it in, and now some water. That's gonna make this super wet, and I can't go into it for a while. I'm just telling you right now. But it'll give it a really pretty effect, a little bit of a rainbow effect. And then sometimes I'll even do this. Here's a spray bottle and a slight light mist. You guys may have to finish this on your own. I might not be able to because it's super wet. We only have an hour. This is soaked in enough. Let's go over there. Same colors, except we want them darker. If you look on the hummingbird, this side dark, this side really dark. We're gonna follow the values. This side light, following the light source. So over here, lots of paint. I'm gonna change up the color. I'm going with phthalo blue, and I'm gonna mix in a little bit of green. It's gonna be a little bit different than my other bird that we did.
Heather said she likes the way you teach on a need-to-know basis.
On a what?
Need-to-know basis.
Again, tap it. Oh, look at that. That's an awesome color. That was phthalo blue mixed with, I think it might be a turquoise. See how it's still really wet? But that's okay because we're going to add more paint to that, more pigment. In fact, I need to squeeze out some paint. This is Daniel Smith. I got the paintbrush in my mouth. Phthalo blue. All right. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at that. Can you see that? That's what I love. Back in with phthalo blue. I don't know if you guys can't really see that. Phthalo blue, I just added that there. I want that to be darker next to the bird. Tap it in. Let the paint mix together. Remember, let that paint dance. You're not going to be the third wheel in the dance. I know, I think I'm funny. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to touch that. That looks so pretty, but I need to. I'm going to go down by the belly of this bird. So since the wings come out, we're going to go ahead and bring some of the paint out. Same thing, tap it. That's a little dry.
What color is the turquoise?
Oh gosh, you know what that is? I think that is, hold on. Yeah, it's just phthalo green mixed with the blue. Phthalo green. Here, I'll put some more of that out. Isn't it delicious? I like to say paint is delicious. Uh-oh. When I opened up my paint, I dropped some dry paint on there. Let's smear this a little bit. Smear. Brush was too wet, but that's okay because these wings are dark. See the dark wings?
Your laughter is adding more color to your class.
Yeah, you know what? If you're going to get stressed out about painting, that's sad. You just stop that. If whoever's getting stressed out about their painting, stop it. You just enjoy the process. And here's the thing. The more you practice, the more you'll enjoy it. So don't do it and then stop. Do it and keep going.
Miles on the brush.
Yes, miles on the brush, you guys. All right, I'm looking at this. Here's what I'm doing. I'm looking at the in-between sections that are dark. The light sections I'm going to leave alone as much as I can. Oops. I'm not sure where to put this now. The bird's so wet. I'm going to put it right here, I guess. See, today is a damper day. The day has more moisture in it and more humidity. So my paper is staying a lot wetter than it did the other day. And that'll happen. Then you just have to go. It's kind of like if you've ever baked bread. It does different, it responds differently on different days. Now, if you look at this, this is a good thing to think about. Doesn't that look like flowers? If you were going to paint a flower that needed to have some spreading out, that is a good thing to remember. So think about that next time. Paint with water, let it sit for a while, give it a tap, and there's your technique for texture. I'm going back into some darker phthalo blue, taking out the moisture of my brush because I want the more paint in the brush, not more water. I have enough water on here that it'll suck it down.
Do you always work from a reference photo?
I've done a few times where I've painted outside, and that takes practice too, and I just haven't practiced that. I like that we can use a photo. I really like it because we can look back and forth. Now, some artists are purists and they only want to work from life, and that's great. I think that's great. That's just my own I'm into it for the joy. I'm not into it for anything else. And that's why I use colors that people say are fugitive because I love that pink that I used in the hummingbird. Okay, I've got to stop talking for a sec, just this.
Will you do another wash on the other wing to match the turquoise?
Maybe or maybe not. This hard edge right here, can you see a hard edge? I don't like it. While it's still wet, I'm going to try to manipulate that, correct it. I'm using the flat of my brush. So as you're working back and forth like I'm doing, pay attention to things like that because...
I'm not sure if they can hear me when I ask you a question, so you might repeat it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can you hear Tom when he responds to your question? Okay, oh my gosh, I just love that. So what I think I want to do, we need to add a little bit of that color into here. Here's what you can see what I did. So see, even though these are different color wings, in order to make them seem like they are the same bird, I put some of that color here. So it ties in, even though this is much darker. Can you see what I did? And then also it ties in here. So those are things for you to think about, how you want to tie things together. We use the same color here as the beak, and we use some of that same color there. Okay?
So they can't hear you.
Okay. Good. So I want to, see, this is where you make decisions as an artist. I really love this, and I want it to come down into here, and it's still wet enough to do it. So this time I'm going to go ahead and use this, mix it a little bit in here. Keep the brush wetter this time because I want it to be lighter in there. So a wetter or less pigment. We're going to do a few taps. See how much lighter that is? But I want it to creep in there. That's so cool. Your bird's going to look different, as you guys know, but they'll be similar. Back to observing. Let's observe the bird. Super dark here, darker segments here. It's too wet to work in, although I could work up here where it's dark. Okay, because there's nothing there. I'm going to go with the blue, the phthalo blue. Less water, more pigment. Now this is a way that a lot of people just paint. You see how it's just drawing now. You draw with your brush.
Do you prefer tube paints over pan paints on frustrated using?
I prefer tube paints. But if I'm traveling and I'm going to do my car art, I'll use the pans. That's just a personal preference. It's really the same paint. But look at this, you guys. I just squeezed this paint out. Look at how yummy it is. Look at that. It's super vibrant. Where if I use just a dry bit of paint, let me show you really fast since you guys asked that. If I use this, I haven't sprayed this. This is that beautiful opera rose or opera pink. Look, I have to dig at it. I'm like, oops, is that not there? Look, I have to dig at that to get that out. It's hard. So it just takes more time, and it still will come out, but it's just not as much beauty to me. So what I do is I haven't used this yellow much, so what I'll do is take this, and I already sprayed it earlier today, but it's been enough time that it's sort of dried up again. Spray, if you're using a pan, spray as well. I'll show you the different yellows on this. Indian yellow, quinacridone gold, and then this is a Hansa yellow, and then you can see all the dirtiness there. This is transparent orange. Okay, what am I thinking? Could you guys hear the dog snoring? We need to get into here, right? But I'm going to avoid that for a minute because this is still wet. If I go here now, it's going to creep in there. All right. Let's go up into this little section right here. See how it's separate and it's more blue and it's still segmented? We're going wet again, paint with the water, and paint segments and segments. Same color of paint, although let's do, because that looks kind of blue here, can you see it looks kind of blue? Let's go to it. Pale blue, so let's do a coffee. When you think of coffee, about that kind of a color. Go in here, let's tap it. Get that beautiful blue. Following the shape, they look like little U's. You see that? Little U's. Okay, now because there's water there, it's going to creep over and it's going to paint for you. You don't have to do much else. All right? Although, observing again, do you see the darker parts up here in that little bit of the wing? Let's go there now. No water this time, straight paint. Let's mix the purple.
What are those palettes?
Palettes. Oh, these I think are just
The palettes.
these are little coasters, I think. Let me see. Made in China. Here, I'll flip it over. It says XCELL, made in China. I think I got them at a thrift store. So I'm going here. Can you see the dotted things here? Remember, we're just talking like what the shape is. It's a dot, and it's a dot, and it's a dot. They're a little too uniform for me. Nature doesn't really make things uniform. So I'm going to mix them up a little bit, but I'm the one that made them uniform.
Asked where she could get the reference photo of the hummingbird, and then
I-
Heather said it's in the photos.
Yeah, I posted it in the photos. So we're still looking here, you guys. Also, I'm looking here. It's darker along the back of the neck. I'm starting to look at details now. We started with the big, although we did actually start with the eye. We want to make the eye a little darker. We'll go there after this. So I start with the eye and the beak because people are terrified of eyes. So I always start there because I figure if you ruin it, you just start over. But if you get to the eye at the end, this is a personal preference. Some people leave the eye for the end. I like to do the eye right off the bat. And the reason why is because I just know that if it's done right, it'll make the whole painting be fine. If you screw up the eye at the beginning, just scrap it or try to fix it. I did this, the reason why I started doing that is because I had one painting when I was first learning, and I did everything but the face. It was a person. I did everything but the face, and I got to the end, and I just stared at that white face for I don't even know how many months, maybe years, because I was terrified I'd ruin the rest of it. All that work I put into the full painting, and I couldn't even do the the face. It was ridiculous. So I thought, I'm never doing that again. I mean, now I could because I know I can paint an eye, and that just comes with practice. Okay, so we're going here. Do you see the darkness here? Let's go in there and get a little bit of darkness right along here. So we get that curve. If it's curving in, it's dark in that area. So curve it in with the darkness. Now we're just drawing, drawing, basically. I'm tapping still because feathers have a little bit of a texture. So we're just drawing it in. Following that wing here. Don't just do a solid line though. Leave some white in between. Which isn't actually white in this case because we've already painted an undercolor of the bird, which is that light pale yellow and green that we mixed. Follow along the wing. Clear water, I'm bringing it up next to the edge just to make it blend a little bit more, since it is just wet on dry. Some people only like to paint wet on dry. That's their favorite way. I don't. That's not dark enough to me. See, it's a lot darker than that. We need to kind of match that darkness. Excuse me. I'm going to go in with now a little bit of the green, phthalo green and phthalo blue. I think that's a pretty color, and let's just do it. Tap it in there. Now it's wet, so it's going to do something different. We started with the paper dry, and now it's wet because we put some paint down. So it's going to respond a little bit differently. Again, don't scrub, tap. Let your paint work for you. Down here in the lower part of the wings, there's still space in between. The wings are overlapping, so you want to show that a little bit. And not too much. Here's the thing. The more you try to paint a perfect texture of a wing, the worse it looks. So I don't know why that is. You don't need all the details. Let your imagination do some work. I know that's a feather, so as long as there's a little bit of a suggestion of it, it's going to make people think it's a feather. And here's another tip. Since we're looking at the value of this right now, value does all the work of a painting, but color is what people notice. It gets all the credit. So just keep that in mind. Value is the most important thing that you can do, in my opinion. Since we've got dark on our brush and we can move around a little bit, I'm going to take it up to the eye. I'm not going to lift it up today. You guys know what we did. This is basically drawing in the eye. I'm going to the lower part. I've got a small brush. I've got some dark paint on it. Super careful. I used to hold my breath when I was painting, and when I was done, I was like, so you might be doing the same, and that's okay. Just comes with practice, right? I really like that I can see some blue in this eye, even though in the hummingbird that we have, there's not any blue. Oh my gosh, I've gotten caught up in the painting. I don't know what time it is.
It's 11:45.
Okay, I think we're going to be able to finish it, you guys. Well, I mean, you might have to do more. The way to tell if let's go over here and get some dark. We'll do that, what somebody suggested. Let's go over here with the phthalo blue. You guys have any questions? I know I'm talking a lot. This should still be wet. Not really. Good. So let's go in here. This is just, like I said, this is called drawing. Follow the shape. Leave some white. Don't make it a solid blue. Leave some white. The feathers are going to pick up some of the white. I'm going to go down here.
Hello? Yes. I'm doing it. How are you? Oh, I sure do. Yeah.
I'm into the water now, clear water on my brush. I'm going to go ahead and tap some of these areas to blend them a little bit. And now that I put that in there, here's another thing. Once you change something, it changes everything. So now, because I have that there, that looks really weird. I need to bring it down some more and blend it in. We're going back into the phthalo blue. What brand of brushes do I like? Any tips to if you add the eye later? Brand of brushes, I have a lot of those expensive, wait, before I say that, start here with the water and go in because with the light water, with the light wash and come in, and then we'll get rid of that because it gets lighter toward the inside, and that's what I'm looking for. This darkness goes all the way out. Anyway, I use, what was the other question? Brand of brushes and tips for the eye later, if you do the eye later. Okay, so the brand of brushes I have here are Winsor & Newton Series 7. They're a Kolinsky Sable. But there are plenty of brushes out there that are perfect, that you don't have to spend as much as I did. I kind of got sucked into it because I thought that's what I'd need to do to become a better painter, and that's not true. If you add the eye at the end, just leave it. I just paint it the same way, I guess. So what I'm looking at is there's a tiny little, excuse me again, there's a tiny little section that makes this part stand out, the white. So I'm going up there now. Same color, this dark blue. Again, this is just drawing now, drawing with a brush. And it comes into it. It doesn't go all the way down. It kind of stops at a certain point and blends in. Okay. Just observing. I'm sure we can go over here now. You guys ready to tackle this area? So let's talk about that. Since I have this so blue now, and the blue here would blend into that too much, let's change that up a little bit. Let's make our bird more of a full green. We can change it. So let's make this a greenish yellow all the way. He has a blue tail that ties into these. I need to put some more purple up in here. So this is, again, your observation skills. Just look at it and say, okay, I want to make something tie together. I'm going to tap some purple in here. This is straight purple. It's wet, so it's going to blend a little bit. If I don't get this finished, you guys can continue on, okay? Don't be afraid, because it's just paint and it's just paper. And you're getting to play in it. Ooh, I like that. See how that purple's surrounding it? I really like that. So I'm going to do a little more. And that's what you'll do. You'll be like, oh, I like that. Remember it for the next time. These are a little bit too hard edged, so I'll smear them a little bit. It's just a value there. It's just showing there's a little bit of a change there. We could also, if we want to do a little more detail, we could separate these a little bit. Oh, wait, I was going to go here, right? Okay, sorry, I got sidetracked. Wet your bird. I think I did a red. Yeah, I did. I did a pink here. Okay, so let's wet the whole bird, the belly of the bird. Including this little area here. We're going to go ahead and wet that, if you have it still. I'm actually going to try to stay a little bit away from this. I might leave that a little bit lighter so it's a little bit of separation. Do you have a second yellow? I used the cool yellow. I'm going to use a warm yellow here just to make it a little bit different. All the way down. You guys may have to be thinking on your own here shortly. I think it's getting close to 12. I think we should do a pajama painting class. Don't you guys? Let that sit.
Do you have any tips if you add the eye later?
I did. I talked to them about that. I don't know how to give a tip on that. Just paint it the same. Okay, I think I'm teaching you guys how to think for yourself, and that is super awesome to me. These feet, to me, look a little too light. Like I said, what I'm doing is I'm looking at this. I'm going, okay, what can I do? Where can I fix it? The wings look like they need a little more of a segmented area, so I would go do that later. I would add some more color here, but it's not actually necessary. It could be okay. I'm wetting this whole area now. Okay, I said warm yellow. I'm going to use my quinacridone gold, which I love this color.
What makes you think we're not in our PJs?
What makes you think what?
What makes you think we're not in our PJs?
Someone told me they might not even be in pajamas. They might just be
Are we supposed to be in clothes today?
in underwear. Are you guys in your underwear? I had to wear clothes because I was going to be on camera. Can you see the difference between, does that look cool and that looks warmer? See that? Lisa Cookman. Oh, I was going to message you, Lisa. Can you message me and tell me about your toilet paper needs? Whoops, sorry. So again, I'm doing the same thing I've done before. Tap, tap, tap. Let the water do the work. Tap, tap. Oh, don't go all the way up here. We want to put the pink in there. If you have any kind of red, use it. I'm going to use my pink.
Heather said it's getting close to her bedtime in Greece, so PJs be looking for her.
Perfect. So look, this bird does not have that. We can do whatever we want, right? I want a pink neck because a lot of them do. So if someone asks you, what kind of hummingbird is that? You say, it's my hummingbird. Ooh, I like it. So we got the gold here. It's not quite running into this, which is what we want. We want to leave that. We can always go there. We can always bring it in there, but if it kind of creeps in there, we may not like it. I have another red that I want to put in here. I don't want just that one red. I think this is like a violet red. But I also have I do know this is a cadmium red. It's not a transparent color. So see how there's a little white here, you guys? There's a little bit of white in between. That's cool. If it would stay, that would be great. That might be a good place to put salt. So I just want this to be a little bit darker in sections. Can you see what I did? Super easy. The quinacridone gold is still a little wet, so let's go into, we use this turquoise up here, so let's do that on there. I'm gonna get some of this cobalt blue. Let's see what happens. A little watery. It's pretty. Sections in between. Let some connect and then space in between. Connect some, space in between. You guys like that? That's a pretty one. You guys might want to get that color if you don't have it. I don't know how many are delivering now, how many deliveries are going around, but if you can get it, that would be a fun color to get. I love it. So even though it looks really cool, it looks like it is feathers, I really like that. It doesn't look like our reference photo much, but that is okay. I'm going to do some phthalo blue. Pretty watery, between tea and coffee-ish, okay? And let's go back in there because the water is going to push aside the paint. I just don't want the bird to be completely look like it's all yellow and then you got these blue wings. You kind of want the colors to work. The neck being pink is fine because that is acceptable in a bird. Hummingbirds have that. But in general, so now I'm getting in there closer. Just sort of observing. Hey, that's a pretty cool looking bird to me. I'm happy with it. And you can kind of tell, this is where the phthalo was, and this is where the cobalt turquoise is. Let's see. I desperately want to see how you get the movement with splatter and spray. Will you get to that? Oh, okay. I'll do that right now. Let's forget this thing right now. I think it's close enough. You guys can continue to work on it. Desperately, we want to see how that goes. Okay, we'll do it two ways. Oh, look how dirty I got that there. Okay, first, I'm going to splatter some paint. And I've got this whole bluish green thing going. So I'm going to stick with that color palette. And besides that, a bird often flies into blue and green. Okay, you guys, here we go. Here comes some splatter. I'm going to do it two different ways. Splatter, 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 right? That looks too green to me. I'll get some more blue. Now I went back into the water to make it more watery. Since there is a little bit of pink, I'm going to add a little bit of pink in my splatter too, okay? Just to tie it in a tiny bit. When someone says they're desperate, I'm ready to help. A little bit of pink, not a lot. Just a suggestion. See that? That's going to turn it a little bit. All right, so we've got some paint sitting there waiting for us. What other color should we put in there? Oh, we need a little tiny bit of yellow. Just a smidgen again. I want the bluish green to be the most important. Okay, a little bit. And a lot of this is just trial and error, you guys. Just be brave, trial and error. All right, here is my spray bottle, right here. And then I just sort of, it's an irregular pattern of spray. Squirting. Come on, water. Can you see how it's irregular? Can you see the splatters are irregular? So now it's just sitting there, and now I want it to run. I'm gonna make it run. And I can spray more and make it run more. It gets the paper super wet. Can you see what's happening? Can you see what happened?
You don't have the latest podcasts app.
Oh, okay, I don't want that. I wanted to see it making movement with the bird. Is this what you had in mind? Do you want the bird to look like the wings are flying? Or is this what you had in mind? Because if you want the wings to be moving, what you would do is get the wings wet. Okay, let's see, we've got purple. Follow the sort of the color of the wings. Is that what you had in mind? How is your paper held on the paper? Oh, that's a good question. So what I do is, a lot of people like to put tape around the edge and leave a border, and I think that looks beautiful, but I don't want to do it. I like it to go all the way to the edge, but when you do that, if you're going to frame, you have to be careful, because unless you're going to float your frame, if you're going to float your frame, it's perfect. But if you're not, float your painting. If you're not going to float your painting, then you're going to need to pay attention to your edges. So I like to have my edge all the way to, I just like to have it open. I like to have the whole thing. So is this what you're talking about, trying to make my wings move, like as if they're fluttering? Movement on the wings? Because that's what I would do. I would blur the edges. I would just do things like that. I don't know if that helps. Now on the other side, I could start with the spray. Let me see, am I in the thing? Yeah. On this side, I would start with the spray, because you can do it this way too. So I've got those irregular patterns. Look, it's gonna make my beak move a little bit because there's so much pigment on there, and I don't mind that. So let's try with, so we've got a lot of green here. I'd actually like more green over there. If I'm gonna do it, let's do it right. Whoa. More blues, more greens. And this is also done in layers. You let it sit, you come back to it. Like if you look at this, is this what you mean? Because this is maybe what you're talking about. All I did was what I just did now. I painted the wings, and I added that later. Same thing here. So I wanted it to look like it was something was flying through it. This one's a little bit darker, but I like it. Okay, so I've already splattered this. How about, see, now I'm gonna have to decide what to do with the rest of it, and so will you if you do that. You have to decide what should I do now? That's a lot of blue. Let's tip it, see where it goes. Tap it, tip it. Ooh, look how cool that looks, you guys. Look right there. Can you see how cool that looks? That'll blend out a little more, but I love that. So now it's just time to observe and decide. I think I want more yellow on this side, and if I were going to continue on painting, I didn't paint down here. You just do the same thing. Add some gold. How we did it, and tie it into that. Darker, I'd probably make this a little darker, at least here. Follow your painting. I'm going to splatter here. What color do I want to splatter? You want to keep with the same colors you have here in general. So I will. The blues and the greens. Because he's flying in the greenery. So you see what I did? I first put the paint down, then I went and got water. Even though there's already water on it. And I like it to look like it's running through the wings. I'm gonna put more yellow on this side, because the reason I'm putting more yellow is because he looks like he's in the light from this direction. So I want it to be, this looks like this is a dark wing and it's in the shadow, but see his belly looks like it's in the light. So let's do this, because then that means that's reflecting on him. Or that's what we can say happened. Does that make sense? I'll tip the board and let it run. If it doesn't run, I spray. Let it run a little more. I don't mind having that run into him. Can you see where it ran into the wing now? And that looks great. And then basically what I would do is I would keep watching. I would try not to overdo it, but I would just keep watching. Sometimes I don't like, can you see the bottom here? Sometimes I don't like how this happens in uniform. I don't mind them running, but I don't want them to look like they're the same size of a stripe. So maybe what I'll do is I'll splatter some things here too. More yellow. Whoops. And try to make that not as uniform. Does that make sense? These are all the same size of rows of the same size. So I don't want that. I think our time's probably up. I can't see, but it feels like it.
It is 12:05.
Woo, you guys got 5 more minutes. Sorry I kept you so long. Okay, how are you guys feeling? I'll let you answer and then we're gonna go. Do you feel like you can continue on a little bit, paying attention to all of the values? I would probably go darker under here. If you look, this is darker right in here. So you could make it darker blue. I'll do it really fast. Again, you're just following the values. Maybe darker here. I don't want it to look like a stripe. That looks like a stripe. So I got my brush wet. I'm gonna go up next to it.
Answering your question you gave him, Lynn said good.
Good?
Confident.
Good? You're feeling confident?
Confident.
You guys, these are my thumbs. They're going up. And we're gonna end this with our song. Twinkle, twinkle, you're a star. Keep your brush near, not far. Splash your paint, you're doing great. Enjoy your project, do not wait. I almost forgot those little words. Twinkle, twinkle, I'm a star, you're a star. Keep your brush near, not far. Give yourself a hand. I'm proud of you guys, super proud. So watch for the post. I'm going to do one of these eyes. You're going to do one of these eyes. And we'll talk about why they don't look dead. Okay, these do not look like dead eyes, right? I mean, they look creepy, but they do not look dead. Okay, that'll be our next project. Probably watch for the posting. I might take a break tomorrow and do it again in the middle. You guys have plenty to do. Practice your blacks. I've only seen a couple of you practicing making blacks, and they're critical. So practice those, okay? I may work more on this. I may not. We'll see, okay? I've got lots of things I've got ironed in the fire. All right, you guys, take care. Big hugs. Thank you for joining me. For those of you who are interested in the longer version or a more in-depth version, I will send you guys a video privately on Facebook Messenger, so you can message me there or whatever. Okay, bye.